Let's give Will a massive round of applause.
Actually, give Mikey a round of applause. He's been fantastic. All right then, people. So, talking about ghostwriters. What is a ghostwriter? Can somebody explain that to me? Yeah, here we go. Pal.
A ghostwriter is someone who writes all the songs for like an artist.
Right. Do they get paid for it?
Yeah.
What? So
but they don't get credited in the actual record.
They don't get any credits.
They don't get any credit.
That doesn't seem too fair.
But they get paid.
So do you think these ghostwriters should get paid, should get credit for what they do?
I think so. If you look at Ed Sheeran as a prime example, his ghostwriter is a lady called Amy Wadge.
Oh, right.
And she, so you know the song Thinking Out Loud?
Yeah.
She wrote that.
Do we all know that song, yeah? Thinking Out Loud, yeah?
The thing is, right, everyone's just like, oh my god, Ed Sheeran, he's like so original and like writes his own songs. So it's like, there's people like me or like other people our age who are writing their own songs at home, but like no one hears about it.
Right.
But then like, you've got Ed Sheeran and everyone just thinks he's so edgy because he writes his own songs when he doesn't actually write his own songs.
So maybe he's not too edgy, he's more part of the capitalist machine. Now before we carry on guys, we've got lots of new faces. What I like to do when I get in the middle is get a little bit more acquainted with everybody. So let's get around to names in. We're going to start just here. Pat, what's your name?
Tom.
Archie.
Phil.
Liam.
Ryan.
Tarquin.
A name.
I'm just going to call you No Name from now on. Is that right with you?
Yes.
Yeah, cool No Name. Nice to meet you.
The No-No.
Wait, say that one more time for me.
The No-No.
The No-No.
Starts at 8:50.
Hi.
Margaret. Nelly.
Because my identifical name.
And?
Eden.
Lovely to meet you guys. I'm Will. This is Talkaoke. And as Mikey said, I know, we've been talking about it a lot, haven't we? No. It's been a bit of a crazy one. So we think that maybe Ed Sheeran's getting too much credit when actually it's not deserved his way. Is that right?
I think so. I think he's just one of those people who started off he started off decent. I mean, some of his songs are alright, but now with his last album, Divide, I think he just sold himself out to the pop machine and has basically just become an average, trashy pop artist.
So maybe it's a bit of a sellout. We're going to come to Margaret, then over to Mikey.
I think that I think that all this trash about him writing his about people about this ghostwriter isn't true, because I remember that I think it was a few years ago when, well, I don't know if it's true if he wrote it or not, a few years ago when
what did he write?
When I think Matt Terry won X Factor, he wrote a song for him.
So he's writing songs for the X Factor winners, so maybe he's not writing his own songs.
He just did it that year, but like he got.
So hang on a minute, get this right. Ed Sheeran's writing songs for the people, but not writing his own songs. Is this right?
No.
This doesn't sound too right. I'm going to come over to Mike. What are you thinking, Mike? I'm getting tangled up already.
No, talking about the ghostwriters and the spirit writers, okay, so Ed Sheeran makes music. Somebody writes the songs. It might be him, it might be the ghostwriter. But where does all this music come from? Doesn't it all come from the spirit in the end? Isn't all music from spirit and from the ghosts and from other people from here?
Spirit of music.
Yeah, from the hearing. So in a way, it's all ghost written. It's all, if not ghost written, spirit written. It's written through spirit.
It's getting a bit spooky now, Mike. Yeah, right. Yeah, we're getting quite deep. Do we agree with this? Do we think that actually it doesn't matter who writes it, because it's just in the spirit of music, the spirit of sharing that passion, that love? We're gonna come over here, Nelly.
Not all writers write their own music. There's only like a little handful that actually write their own music, and then most of them get people to write them for them. So then it's done by a professional, so then it sounds more better. And then
right. So maybe it's not all that bad. Is that right?
Well, it is, but like some
if it makes it sound better.
Some people write their own when other people are getting people to do it to them, so then it sounds better, but other people are doing it by hand.
Yeah, so maybe, do we think the people that write their own songs need a bit more recognition, maybe a bit more reward and benefits from it? We're going to go over here.
I think we've lost the spirit of music, because at the minute, I don't think there's many bands like Queen, the Beatles. Muse has sort of died back a bit.
This Muse.
I'm not. They're just not.
They're releasing an album in November.
See, I mean, we're talking about passion of music. There's a lot of passion coming out when we mention names.
Queen and Beatles. They wrote a lot of their albums when they were a bit baked.
Right, okay.
It was a lot of ecstasy and a bit of opium.
So are these the ghosts in the closet that Mikey's talking about over there? Maybe that the drugs are playing a part. Some of the adults are laughing. Is that an agreement at the back there? Yeah, I can see you at the back. What are your thoughts? I'm going to pass the mic over.
That children have got on the subject of drugs.
I think he's amazing, and I think you're all ace. I do.
You think? Well, thank you. You got a round of applause. Yes, second round of applause of the day. Fantastic stuff. But yeah.
We love Ed Sheeran as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we love Ed Sheeran as well. Oh, okay. I think that was a bit of an anti-clap that we had there. That's a Talkaoke first. All right. Let's come over. Where we're gonna have? We had hands up. We're gonna come over here. What? You remind you your name again one more time.
Liam.
Liam. What are we thinking, Liam?
You're saying we've lost the spirit of music, but just at my school alone, there's at least 3 bands that have assembled themselves and have wrote their own singles that sometime next year are going to be released onto streaming apps.
Right, okay, so actually the youth are managing to make music and get it out there, so they're keeping that spirit alive. It's not dead by the sounds of it. Where we're going to come to next. We're going to come just here.
I just want to go back to an earlier point, I think leading on from Mikey, I just feel like it's really hypocritical that people are singing these songs about love and loss and, how... Yeah, stuff like that. And it's just if they've not actually wrote the songs themselves, and it's sometimes they're just I think there was one Ed Sheeran song, it's just oh my god, it's about this girl who palmed him off or something, but he didn't even write it, so how could it be about that?
But do you need to be able to write the song to feel the lyrics of the song? We're going to come to No, then we're going to come to Mikey. What are we thinking, No?
So no, I was on about so ghostwriters. So ghost songwriters, they're so technically copying, but wouldn't that just mean there might be helping someone in the band to try and help them with lyrics?
That's a good point. So everyone needs a bit of help sometimes. What's wrong with getting a bit of help writing your lyrics?
I strongly disagree with Archie, I have to say, because I think something like I'm in love with the shape of your body, that is a thing that anyone could feel, and the whole point of music is to be able to relate to an idea. So it's if it's just something that you feel and nobody else feels, then no one's going to relate to it, no one's going to be interested in music.
You need a second opinion maybe in order for everyone sort of to get it.
Well, not just a second opinion, but something that everyone can feel. The reason we all sing love songs is because we feel the love.
We feel the love. All right. Right, no singing! We've got to keep true to that. Mikey will have my head otherwise. Alright, we're going to come here. Remind me of your name, my friend.
I'm not really going to say my name, so you can just call me Square.
Square, that's fine, Square. Whatever you want, sort of fitting in with the shape of you. It's all good. Let's go with it.
Right, so they are singing these, love songs to millions of people when it's really just about one person, just so it fits into that category, so one person can fit into the category, and it's just saying the most vague things about the person, really.
So you think that actually they're sort of misleading the population, making it a bit vague just to sort of appeal to everybody? Alright, we're going to call Nelly first, yeah.
Well, maybe Ed Sheeran might give it a little idea of what he wants the song to be about, and then the writer will write the actual song about whatever he wanted the song to be.
Yeah, so maybe I have to think about what it is. Are we going over there, guys? Yeah,
to go somewhere else.
Yeah, well, can you give us a final thought before you go? What do you think? Anything? Final thought? What's your favourite song?
Tell them what your favourite song is.
What would you like to listen to? What type of music? Nothing? Bit of peace and quiet, maybe? You're looking forward to a bit of peace and quiet? No problem. What about yourself at the back there? What's your final thought from yourself? Take the mic. Anything.
I agree. I think Beatles, Elvis, old generation are pretty cool, but you've got to give room for the new generation. So keep the old,
If you had to
but
pick a new
experience
song,
the
what
new
would
as
your new
well.
song be? What would the new song be that you'd recommend?
New song. I actually can't say at the moment. I can't think on the spot.
No,
It's very hard.
round of applause,
What do you
it's
think?
brilliant.
Your favourite song is Greatest Showman, isn't it? No. Go on then, tell him.
Elsa.
Elsa, Frozen, everyone. Do you know what? Frozen was an absolute hit, wasn't it? I went down a treat. A little bit cold, I thought, though. A little bit cold on the lyrics. But hey ho, we're going to come over. What's your name again? Remind me your name, my friend.
My name's Tom.
Tom, what are we thinking? You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I want to revisit the point about songs being made for money and it being extrinsic instead of intrinsic, and that because songs are being made for money, they're trying to make them as vague as possible so that everybody thinks that it applies to them.
Right. Okay.
So and people like Beatles, they produced a lot of songs about certain things, and they mass-produced it, and it was all very good.
So you think you need to get a little bit more specific with the lyrics? Stop keeping us a vague. Tarquin, what are your thoughts, my man?
Alright, I'm sorry, but music's always been made for money. Otherwise, those artists wouldn't be as well known if they didn't sell platinum records and things. So I think it's a bit hypocritical that we're criticising them and holding them on this pedestal. And yes, Queen and Beatles did write some very good songs, but they wrote them to be famous.
So actually, then maybe if we gave artists a bit more leeway and didn't worry about the money so much, they might make more personal songs. We'll come to Mikey.
Well, I mean, we do this Talkaoke for money, but we're not really. It's not about the money. It's about the chat. It's about the conversation. It's about the ideas. But at the same time, you need money to actually. You know, if someone came to me and said, "Oh, you're just doing this for the money," I would be kind of offended by that because it's not about the money.
No.
However, you need money to keep the whole thing going.
Hang on a minute. Are you being paid for this? Yeah. Where's my? No, I'm joking. Yeah. But yeah, no, I see your point. Yeah, because actually they do need to. Going back to what you're talking earlier about brown and blonde, wasn't it? You know, everyone needs to make a living. Everyone needs to get some money. What are you thinking, Mama?
Wait, you can get paid for this?
Believe it or not, it is some people's jobs. But maybe that's what it is. The people need to be paid for their art. Is that what they need to be paid for?
Well, I think it's the same with brown and blonde. I bet they're not making brownies just for the money. They make brownies because they love chocolate brownie thing. I think just next door to us. Or the toast people, the ham toast people. The cheese toast people, they do it because they love cheese toast.
Do you think? Oh no, hold up! Don't do it. Take a picture when I've got the mic. Otherwise, it looks like we're just talking about ourselves. But what about then? Do we think that you can tell the difference between when somebody's making something from passion or making it just for the money? Do you agree? What do you think, Square?
Take
the mic. Oh, yeah, no, we can pose. It's all good. See, it's all good. Look relaxed now, Square. Smile away. Everyone just look at Square for a second, yeah. Everyone nod as well. Everyone just nod.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. Yeah. Do it. Okay, I'd like to. Sorry, I'm just gonna go back to the point of which you made. Sorry, what's your name? Nelly. Okay, what's your favourite Ed Sheeran song?
Any thoughts, Nelly? I'm gonna take the mic. What do you think? What's your favourite Ed Sheeran song? Do you know what? Why you ever think of it? We like to do this thing at Talkaoke. We turn the mirror back on you. So I'm gonna ask you, Square. What's your favourite Ed Sheeran song?
I don't like Ed Sheeran.
Right. Oh, okay. Controversial. Why don't you like Ed Sheeran though? I think because Mikey was saying he likes The Shape of You. What's wrong with Ed Sheeran?
Well, again, I think he's taken one song which is about one person and giving it to a massive audience, which I don't think should happen.
Okay, well, what might the alternative be? Hang on, come on then, Margaret. Why does no one care about the lyrics? What do the people care about, Margaret? Tell us.
If you think about it, not many people really take their time listening to the lyrics, saying, "What does that mean?" So
yes, they do.
It's about talking and listening. I want to hear Margaret's point.
Thanks, Margaret. Anyway,
I remember your name.
I feel like was that me? Sorry.
Is it ringing? Maybe you forgot. We're taking a short interval.
If it's like the style, like the tune.
So it's more about actually sort of the melody of the music and what's going on there.
About being lyrics, because people like singing along. But if you think about it, when you sing along, you don't really like. Recently, when I've been singing along, I realised, I just sing along to the lyrics because I know the words. I don't actually listen.
So the meaning doesn't matter too much then, maybe. No, what are we thinking? You're staying quiet over here, my mum. We're just listening. You got any thoughts on this?
Well, I think the lyrics do matter. Because what if it's your favourite song, you want to learn it, but if you didn't have But if the lyrics didn't matter, then you'd be like, oh, well, this is terrible.
So maybe they do
That's
matter.
what makes the song good.
Yeah.
So what the lyrics what makes a song a song. Now we're going to come to No. What we think of that? I'm going to get untangled first of all. Otherwise I'm going to get caught up like Mikey does in Shape of You.
So technically, so lyrics is about summit. Otherwise, if you didn't really pay attention to the lyrics, you might as well not have lyrics in any single song in the world.
Yes.
You might as well just have a tune. So
Alright,
lyrics do mean something.
Okay, maybe they do. Now we've got to hear everyone's point out, Margaret. All right, we're going to come over to Arch. Come take a seat. There's some spare chairs left. We're talking about music at the moment. Do lyrics matter, or is it just there to mumble along to when you're a little bit bored in the car on the long drive home we got later? We're going to Archie.
Having spent the past year writing songs myself, I'd say, yeah, man, I'm pretty edgy. I'd say that the music, the lyrics really matter because I like to write about the experiences of life.
Right. Okay.
And I think that's what music should be about. It should be about what's happened to you and like why life is awful, and about how like
Thank you.
why you need to. And I think it's all about the lyrics. It's not just the music. I could write lyrics because you can write poetry with lyrics rather than just having the music. And poetry was there around long before lyric songs were.
Poetry sort of like the preliminary to music? Is it just sort of bad poetry music, or is it good versions of poetry? Phil, what are we thinking?
Well, like, you got songs like 18, which are quite structurally very sound when it comes to the lyrics.
No singing, I've got to stay firm on that one, even melodies.
And like, the lyrics have layers, like, they have different meanings. And then you have songs like Gucci Gang, and then What Can You Interpret, which is Deep by Gucci Gang.
I don't know. Alright, so I miss. Oh no! Wait there! You've got to have the mic to talk. Come over here, introduce yourself. Hang on a minute. Hang on, I'm getting untangled. What's your name, first of all?
My name's Carla.
Lovely to meet you, Carla. What's your thoughts?
Well, you know, music, it's personal taste, it's what you're into, what stage you're at in your life, what you need in your life at that moment. You might need a song to help you through a certain situation. You might just want to go out and dance. You don't need lyrics for that. Jean-Michel Jarre.
Talking about it.
How does a song help you through a situation?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I think this band's helping me through a situation right now. It's been a bit difficult, to be honest. Let's have a think. Where we're gonna go to Square? What are we thinking?
Well, lyrics really make the song different to other songs, don't they?
Yeah.
Because just a tune matters. Even these guys here, they do sometimes use their lyrics.
Do they? Should we ask them?
Guys, do you have lyrics? Do you sing?
No, I can't think they hear us. Alright, it's no problem. We're gonna come over here though.
So, we go back to lyrics. If we take Eric Clapton, for example, there's a lot of life lessons you can learn from his lyrics. The fact his son died very tragically, and he wrote about that in mostly all of his lyrics post that event. And for many songs, you can. So Simon and Garfunkel, they also have a lot of life lessons within their lyrics.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the lyrics, you can learn a lot from a song. So when you're happy, you'll listen to the song, but when you're sad, you'll listen to the lyrics.
So sort of like maybe lyrics are almost an artist's memoirs to his fans. Maybe they're just talking about their life. What about yourself? What's your favourite sort of music? What do you like listening to?
I like all kinds of different music, but I'm a little bit like that hasn't got any lyrics over there, but that's you can get a good beat.
To it, yeah.
If it's got a beat, then
what's your name again? Sorry, I didn't catch your
my
name.
name's Bob.
Bob, lovely to meet you. But yeah, no, good point there. They don't always do music. Archie, you going? Oh, let's get a final thought from you. What are you thinking, Archie?
I think that lyrics are the most important part of music. If you listen to different songs, they could sound exactly the same without their lyrics, but lyrics is what gives the song character. And also that without the lyrics, the song has no meaning. Life has no meaning without lyrics.
Oh, wow, we're getting deep now. Alright, we're going as well. Can we get a final thought? Final thought, my friend.
Can't say lyrics don't matter because Ed Sheeran's just been sued for it.
Right, okay, well, big round of applause, guys. Round of applause. Enjoy the rest of your day, alright. Well, okay, maybe lyrics do matter. What do people value more? Whoa. I think this drumming has sent everyone a little bit loopy right now with the heat, okay? Let's take a moment to think about it. Is it the beat that matters? Is it the lyrics? Is it both? No. You seem like you're a man on a mission. Alright, we're going to come to you first.
So, like these guys, they're playing like instruments now, but maybe like they're playing along to a song, and they started singing now, But they may not, like, when they were walking past here, they weren't singing because, like, they were too busy doing the instruments. And so, like, that's why you have, like, instruments in the singer. And then they're singing now because, like, they want to.
But are we actually listening to the lyrics? I mean, is anybody listening to the lyrics here, or are we just sort of nodding along to the beat, going back to Kyle's point?
You know, I think the lyrics actually do come later. Like, you get into the music and the song, and then the lyrics kind of like, you know, emerge. And when you know a song, then you start listening. When you really like a song, then you start listening to the lyrics. So it's kind of like, it means you can go deeper into the music.
But do you think they have to be there for it to be good, Mikey? We were talking about Gucci Gang earlier, saying that if you just...
It doesn't have to be there, no, I mean, not at all, but, you know, but it means you can go much deeper into a song, you know, and I like the mention of Simon and Garfunkel, because I think they've got great lyrics, but you're drawn in first by the music.
Yeah, really interesting. Alright, now, tell you what we're going to do, we've got a new face at the table first, so what's your name, my friend?
Kean.
Kean, lovely to meet you. Kean, just to fill you in, do you know what? I'm not going to lie, we went out last night, it's been a bit of a mad one trying to remember what we talked about, but it feels like music's been the real theme of today, isn't it? No, it's alright, but music, we've been talking about how people were writing ghost writing, and did they deserve the credit if they didn't write the song, and maybe the soul of music's been lost, and now I've come on to what's more important. Are lyrics really important to having a good song, or do you really need them? And Margaret disagrees, very much disagrees, but we're going to go to Nelly first. Yeah.
Well, the lyrics matter but don't matter because, like, when when you first listen to the music, you don't really listen to the lyrics. You listen to the tune, and then when you get the tune, you start to listen to the lyrics. So then you can like get the lyrics in your head and then sing along when you think that.
So maybe the first thing that attracts you is actually the melody, and then you get into the lyrics. But they're not a necessity, like you're saying, Margaret. No, I didn't catch your name before. What's your name, my friend?
Anything.
Anything? Is that what we're going to be called? Anything? Alright. Oh, well, what do you think then, anything? What are your thoughts on this?
So why do bands have to have lyrics later on? Why can't they just be a whole tune? Like, they have a tune at the start, and then they start having lyrics, but why can't they have a tune all along?
So just no lyrics, just a tune the whole way through. We're going to come back over here.
Yeah. I mean, if we go back in history through music, and to tribal music, there was no lyrics, you know. We're there with the beat. We're feeling the beat in our souls. It's moving our bodies, and we go back to tribal music. There was no lyrics, or maybe there was.
So maybe we need to go right back to the very beginning. Maybe get a bit more tribal music, get a bit of a beat going. Now, Square over here first. You're waiting patiently. What are your thoughts on this, Square?
Hi. Oh, okay.
What are your final thoughts?
What I do to entertain myself is I attempt to write comedy songs, but may not be funny. But if there's no lyrics to them, then there's literally no point in them existing. So it's just a tune. And can anyone here even tell me what Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is about?
So, alright, we're getting deep now. There's a double whammy there. Before we do that, actually, I'm going to turn it back on you. Do you know what Beethoven's Fifth Symphony is about?
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Alright, it's a good question. I like to ask just to make sure, yeah.
I mean, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony doesn't have lyrics, but Beethoven's Ninth Symphony does have lyrics. His final symphony, Ode to Joy.
Ode to Joy?
Yeah. And it's all about, I don't know, I'm not allowed to sing.
Mike,
whoa. But, you know, I mean, so I don't know, I think lyrics is a secondary thing to the music. But, you know, you can have a song that's funny with just one lyric. I'm thinking of the song Tequila. There's only one word in it, which is tequila.
Don't sing it, I'm watching you.
No, that's it.
You sang that one too much last night, Mikey, so let's keep away from that one. But what do you think? Do you think comedy has a place in music? You know, are you allowed to have funny lyrics, or is it more supposed to be about, like we're saying, memoirs to your life? Ryan, you seem quite passionate. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's this one song that I heard on the radio, and it was about someone who ate a mince pie, and then they had just eaten their cake for pudding, and then their son said, I can't eat it, and then he says, I can't go back to savoury now, and everything like that. And it's just really funny.
So maybe it's good to have a bit of humour in lyrics, have a bit of niceness there. Yes, Mum.
Also, on the first night of the festival, a Banderman was playing in the Big Top, and his is all about rap music.
Right,
His act is all about rap music and turning like people's lives and like stuff into raps.
So do we like rap music then? Is that something we think is a good genre? Do you know to carry on through that? Yeah, because that's very much about that. Tarquin, you seem quite passionate. What are your thoughts?
What?
No?
Okay. I'm not a fan of rap music, but it has its place, I think. I know everything has its place. I agree with you, young man. Very intelligent.
So you think that actually it doesn't really matter if you don't like it or not because it does
No,
benefit
because
society?
it has its place. But I know there's been quite a lot of controversy about whether or not only black people can do rap or whether or not white people can. Eminem's been under fire
So
quite a lot.
actually, it comes down to maybe your appearance. Is that playing a part in the music? Your appearance, does that matter? The way you look? Yeah. What do you think, Nelly?
That like when you hear comedy music, it's not really on the radio, so you have to like kind of go really deep into the comedy music. But when you go on to like when you go onto the radio, most of it has now gone into like rap music and more upbeat music. So when you try to look for something like, I don't know, classical music, it's actually really hard to find because of all
a bit more difficult. So we said that actually we were saying I can't remember who was saying it, that actually we've got some rap music here at Deershed, but do you need more classical music maybe at Deershed? Is that what the silent disco needs? A bit more classical, Mozart's Ninth Symphony maybe? Or?
I think they hit a low point when they played the theme from Grandstand, which is on the way to classical music. Yeah, I mean, I don't know really what the direction was there, and yeah, I think as an artist, a creative person, you've got to try things out, but some things just don't work like that. I mean, for going back to the question about rap music, I think rap music has actually got a lot worse because now it's kind of about fantasy, about being powerful, having guns and money, and being a gangster. When it used to be a bit more political and a bit more about equality and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right, come sit down, come join us. 10 minutes, come back afterwards, alright? But yeah, maybe actually then it needs to sort of go around, get more topical issues, talk about equality, go maybe down those different avenues, explore. Is that what people want to hear when they listen to music? Anything? What are you thinking? You just enjoying the ice cream? I thought you had your hand up. No? That's alright, we're going to go over here.
Rap music, like, they won't. Actually, going back to her point over here about upbeat music being played on the radio, define upbeat, because there's upbeat tunes, like, for example, Pumped Up Kicks, it's got a really upbeat tune, but the lyrics are actually really dark.
Yeah, so actually it's quite dark lyrics. Guys, don't sneak off there, I see you. Come give us a final thought. No name, I see you around the corner there. What's your final thought, my friend? Come take the mic. What's your final thought? Tell us.
Do stuff.
Do stuff. What stuff? What stuff should people do?
What's your favourite music?
My favourite music is Gorillaz. One of my favourite songs is Feel Good Inc. made by Gorillaz, and it's amazing.
Does it make you feel good?
Yeah.
There we go then. I mean, I think that's a job well done. Round of applause, guys. You've been absolutely brilliant. But where we're going to, we're talking about upbeat music. We're going to come over here.
Yeah, I have to agree with what Gabriel's just said there, that if any music makes you feel good, then it's music. Music with gaps in. A lot of rap music, going back to rap. There's just too many words. I mean, what's going on there? There's just like, how many words can you get out in one? You just can't even hear them. And let's just chuck in a few swear words, and these people have a story to tell.
Alright, so tell the story.
They have a story to tell, but slow it down. I'm too old,
This is evoking some real passion there. Come take a seat, come sit down. Alright, we're going to come. Where are we going to come to? We're going to come over to Square. We're going to
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if people probably won't know this, but I like the music of a band called the Smiths. And the thing about the Smiths is it's a sad story, it's sad music, but it's also funny, and it makes you happy. So it does all these things all at the same time, which I think is wonderful.
So it takes you on a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah, even though Morrissey himself might be a little bit dodgy these days. But that's another subject.
That is another subject. Alright, do you listen to the Smiths? Do you like the Smiths? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Come over, chat. Round of applause. 2 minutes your time, 2 minutes. But yeah, the Smiths. So, what are we thinking? Remind me of your name, my friend.
Zach.
Zach, what are you thinking, Zach? Do you listen to the Smiths? Do you like the Smiths? Is that what it's about?
We haven't heard of the Smiths. But saying with that like emotional story behind music, has anybody ever heard of Searching for Sugar Man?
Searching for Sugar Man. Have we heard of that before? Quite a few. Do you want to explain to us what that is?
So basically, there's this guy, and he wants to make like a bit of money. So he makes this album, and nothing really happens. And then he goes off to New York, and then a guy in Africa, yeah.
Right, like, so we've gone from New York to Africa, going all over the place now.
A guy in Africa gets hold of the CD, and he's like, and he loves it, and they play it on radio, and he's really big in Africa, and he doesn't know it.
So is this is it like a song that's a story? Is it?
Yeah, it's a film.
What it is, it's a film about this. I think what's the name of the artist? Rodriguez. And like actually, I heard it in the 90s from an Australia because it was big after South Africa. It was big in South Africa and then big in Australia.
Right, okay.
But the guy in New York knew nothing about it. He didn't know that his record. They thought he was dead. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Whoa. Still touring. All right. Where are we going to come to? We're going to come to Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret. Okay, going back to the rap, I think that, you know how you say that they just put loads of words in the rap? They're not just a lot of words. They're like, no.
What are they? Finish your point. I want to hear.
They're like, they might not mean anything, like, to them, but the whole point of them throwing the words is for people like to try it's like the whole point of it to throw loads of words in and a lot of swear
like a challenge.
words.
It's a challenge to see how many words you can fit into the song. Sort of like that. Is that what the challenge is? How many words a minute? Where are we going to come to? We're going to come to Tarquin.
Doesn't that contradict your point earlier about lyrics not being worth anything?
Yeah. Contradict means basically you've disagreed with yourself.
Oh yeah, I do that. No, I said words didn't mean anything earlier, and then now I'm saying that the words don't mean anything. They're just throwing loads of words in.
Yeah, just to make it a bit of a fun song. So, yeah, no, I'll get where you're coming from, Margaret. You're not contradicting. We're with you. It's getting a bit heated, isn't it? Right. Tell you what, where we're going to come. We're going to come over here first of all.
The record for most words in a song is 110 seconds, held by Eminem.
110 seconds. How many words are in that song?
I don't know exactly, but the fastest rap is 100 words in 10 seconds.
100 words in 10 seconds? Is that how many words do you reckon you could get in, Mikey? In 10 seconds? Should we time you? How many could you get in?
If they're all little words like yeah, I don't know. Then I could do a lot, but it depends what the words are. If they're long words, like evocative, then it's more difficult.
Fantastic stuff. What are we thinking, Square? We're going to come to Square first.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, the musical?
Yes, the musical Hamilton.
Good song.
Oh, okay, so what about it? What's your point?
Well, it's rap, isn't it? And it means something. It's telling a story.
Right, so actually maybe rap's being used to tell stories not only in songs now, but in the West End perhaps, or Broadway.
What about this question of stories? Because we sort of talked about, feelings, but actually songs can also tell stories as well.
Yeah.
Like the music of the Smiths, like Hamilton, you actually tell a story with a song.
Tell a story of the song. Well, then what do people want to do? A couple of people seem like they're nodding off a little bit on this one. Do we want to carry talking about the lyrics, or do you want to change course? What are you thinking? It's up to you. What do you want to... Oh, well, what do people want to change it to? What do you want to talk about? This is your show, not mine.
Back to the rap, aren't like all songs the same, but like putting to different beats, and like I don't think that rappers actually say things that fast. They probably say it normally, and then it gets put on to they get speeded up, so then they sound really good, but they're actually just saying it the same. And when they go to concert, they don't actually sing. They just get the actual record put on behind them, and they're mouthing all the words.
No, hold on. I need to get... Phil, you know how this works. You can't leave without a final thought. What are your final thoughts, my friend?
There's only 2 genders.
There's only 2 genders. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for that one, Phil. You've left us on a real.
What are they? What are the 2 genders?
Lamppost and cheeseburger.
Lamppost and cheeseburger. Okay.
What do you identify
Yeah.
as?
I'm not a cheeseburger. I think.
You're more cheeseburger.
But yeah, I mean, I think you can't really throw that in and just leave.
Yeah. Right.
If you want us to discuss it. Anyway, but
Phil's there.
Male and female.
Okay, interesting. So maybe there's any. Is that what we talk about? Is there any? Well, let's discuss it. Well, let's have a think. I think this is a good point. Right. Male and female. Is there more? Oh, let's come over. Well, I didn't catch your name before. What's your name?
Scarlett.
In fact, let's do a quick recap of names just for my benefit. So we've got Mikey, we've got Square, we've got Anything, we've got Zach, we've got, what do you want now? Kaz, alright. We've got Nelly, we've got Margaret, we've got, begin to the C. Carla. Scarlett. Bob. Tarquin. Ryan. Oh, don't tell me. What was that? I'm really bad at lip reading. Liam! I got it all by myself. It's all good, Liam. Do not worry. But we're talking about genders, aren't we, people? So, is it only come down to 2 genders? Is that all we've got? What are you thinking then, Kaz?
There's transgender, there's dog, there's kitten, there's yes, there's still genders.
Okay, so maybe.
Lamppost,
So maybe. Well, we're going to come over. Scarlett, you seem like you had a lot of points earlier. What do you think about this?
I think it's a personal choice, and you should just respect other people's choices, because they're not hurting anybody else. But I'm pretty sure I think there's like 76 genders now.
76? That's a lot. All right, we could spend quite a while listing all these off. Tarquin, what are your thoughts?
Right, there's XX and XY chromosomes.
Alright, so what's your point with that then? There's XX and XY. What's that to do with gender?
Well, the fact that XX and XY chromosomes determine your biological sets, and gender is based on your biological sets. There's no in between. Unfortunately, what you are is out of your hands.
Is this the problem? Is it getting a bit too many long words that are getting boring?
Well, there's a couple of points that I know it's not good to make 2 points, but there's a couple of points. First of all, I just want to say that you could present as a biological male and have the female chromosomes, or vice versa. All of the genetic information is on the X chromosome. The Y chromosome is just a kind of marker that changes the genetic. So that's actually, I think that's factually incorrect what you're saying. And you can also have XXY or XYY as well. So there are other versions of this. It is biologically possible, but that's not the point I wanted to make. My point is more, maybe you could say there's no genders, because it's just something that we make up. We decide that we want to call someone man, male, female, whatever.
Yeah, alright, before you go away, what's your final thought, my friend?
I think some people may like the same gender as them, but people shouldn't treat them differently.
Ah, interesting. So it might be different genders, but we should all be equal. And maybe we're talking about biology. We were getting a little bit lost, weren't we, some of us? All right, we're going to come over here. What are you thinking, Cass?
There is no genders.
So there's no genders.
So you're right. There is. So it's so hard to explain because you can't say anything, because humans, genders, everything like that is all what we've made up. So technically, if you think a girl and a boy could be totally different animals if you wanted.
So you could change. You can choose what.
Yeah, because
male Pegasus.
Because basically.
Female Triceratops.
So what about you? Do you think you can choose your gender? Is that something you can do?
Yeah.
Can you choose what gender you want to be?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Come sit down, round of applause. Bring your ice creams over. There's space for you guys as well. Come sit down over here. But yeah, so maybe you can choose your gender. We're going to come to Squarefoot. Oh, we're going to come over here, Carly. Yeah.
Just from experience of people who've got young children, she has a 4-year-old daughter who is adamant that she's a boy. She's wearing all boys' clothes. What is boys' clothes? We can argue about that as well. Is there boys and girls' clothes anymore?
Well, let's talk about it. Are there gendered clothes? Do boys have clothes that they can wear and girls have clothes? What are we thinking? Liam, what are your thoughts?
There is no genders. We are all meaningless. We are all meaningless piles of flesh and bones.
We love a good optimistic message on a Sunday. Fantastic stuff. But yeah, maybe it doesn't matter. You can choose what you like. Scarlett, what are your thoughts?
I think boys and girls should be allowed to wear any clothes they want, because it's really, like, you know, it's not hurting anyone, and it's their personal choice, and it doesn't change who you are. It's just what you choose to wear and how your appearance is.
Girls are just labels we give. Boys and girls are just labels we give to people who are different.
Yeah. Do you think boys should be allowed to wear dresses? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Come on over. You don't have to stand in the back there, but absolutely spot on. Square, what are your thoughts?
Sorry. Can anyone here name more than 2 genders?
Yes.
Alright, okay, we're gonna go. Let's pass it over. What's your again? 3 genders minimum. Let's go.
Okay. Male, female, bigender, pangender, transgender, lamppost, bus,
cisgender,
adult male, cisgender, male child, male. Male, female, child.
It's okay, but Tarquin, you just raised a good point there. Repeat that point for me again.
Is transgender a gender?
That is the question. Now, before I pass it out to everyone else, I just want to get your thoughts. Any ideas? I'm going to turn it back on you.
No, transgender itself is not a gender because it's one person transitioning to another. So male to female or male, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so maybe just it's a transitionary period, but it's not actually a gender. What are your thoughts at the back there, guys? Do you think it is? Do you think transgender is a gender? No, come on. Phil's back again, skulking around the back. I see you.
I mean, I think if there are 76 different genders, then if you're kind of identify as a very obscure gender, then you're going to spend a lot of time explaining that to people.
Right, okay.
And that just would come with the territory, whether it's right or wrong. So, you know, it is going to be a lot of hard work explaining one of these, if it is an obscure gender that not many people have.
Right, okay, well, just for the people at the back that have joined us, alright? This is Talkaoke, it's a pop-up talk show. We've been talking about a lot. Phil left us with there are only 2 genders. Final thought, Bub. You're going to come back there and give me a final thought after? Yes, Bub, that's good. But we're talking about genders, and there's not just 2, apparently there's 76 genders, and boys should be allowed to wear dresses, and, you know, and is transgender a gender? We've gone on a bit of a roller coaster here. I don't really know where we're going to go next, but I'm going to pass it to Phil. It's exciting times. I didn't think my Sunday would go like this.
Well, it doesn't take 76 people to make a baby, does it? It takes 1 and 2.
So it means that maybe, but it could be a combination of the 76, maybe? Whoa. Okay, people, okay. Talkaoke, the way I run it, it's not just about shouting your opinion, it's about listening to opinions, alright? That's what we're here to do. Thank you, Tarquin. Alright, let's get it going. Kaz, you've been patient, you're listening. I'm going to respect you and listen to you, my friend.
My question is, can a transgender person have sex with themselves?
I don't know, can somebody do that? Can they be intimate with themselves?
I think anyone can have sex with themselves, and, you know, to a certain extent, can't they?
But that's something we're going to talk about another time, I think. So, a couple of people look and go, no, not at Deershed, not at Sorry, Deershed, we apologise, all right? We interrupt this for a small anecdote, okay? But let's carry on.
The question was asked. I think it deserves an answer.
All right. Well, do you think yes, you can then?
Yes.
I'll say yes. And it goes out to anyone.
It goes out to anyone. All right, Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Back on the thing about the boy in the dress, it's a bit like the book that David Williams wrote.
What
the boy in the dress. It's about
called The Boy in the Dress.
Yeah, it's about a boy who goes into school with a dress on, and everyone finds out he's really a boy and he's not a trans.
He's not a
transfer. He's not a foreign transfer. That's a girl, and everyone finds out. And then he gets banned from the school, and the school football team are losing really bad. And then he just runs on in a dress, and everyone else is running in a dress.
So maybe this book.
And they all win, hooray!
So maybe David Williams agrees that boys should. Now, Bub, I'd like to see that you've got your priorities order. Put that phone down back at the table.
I think back to the kind of boy wear a dress. Of course a boy can wear a dress, you know, of course a girl can wear trousers. And I think as society's gone on and history's gone on, we've just become conditioned to say blue for boys, pink for girls, and you know, people have become that they make clothing for girls, they make clothing for boys, and we're now conditioned to go into a store and go boys' clothing over there, girls' clothing over there, and you'll know yourselves if you've got boys or girls that you go in, and the girls' section is like, whoa, it's massive, and the boys' section is like, you can wear blue, grey, green, full stop.
Or you can get a bit of pink and blue.
You can get a tiny bit of pink in. You can get a tiny bit of pink in.
It might not have been from the boy section, but you know, who knows?
But young people nowadays are now conditioned to walk into a store and go to their gendered
So how
clothing.
do we break this then, Bob? How do we stop this? How do we get out of this cycle of boys only wearing blues and greys and whatever other colours are there? What are we thinking? Oh, Margaret, I'm into it in a while. What are your thoughts?
I'm a teeny weeny bit of a tomboy, and whenever I wear like not very girly clothes and a bit boy clothes, my mum tells me to go upstairs and get other clothes on because she likes wearing like dresses and like nice t-shirts, but that's not really what I want to wear.
So maybe parents are having a bit too much of an influence on what young people wear. Do we agree with that? What about the back? What do we think? Do we think they do? What's your name? Tell me your name. Take the mic.
I'm Eli.
Eli, lovely to meet you.
Hello.
Approve of the feds.
Yeah, because that is fabulous.
Yeah. Well, I think that the best way to combat it is just to not make people think about what the clothes of gender wears. Like, I am a boy and I wear dresses, and I know this is a really nice topic for me, and I think that just other people should see what it's like to wear clothes of other gender, because I don't think there should be clothes of two genders. There should be just different genres of clothing.
I think that's a fantastic message there. Brilliant. I'm going to pass it over to Mikey.
No, I just like this idea of give it a go, give it a try, because you don't know until you've tried it.
Maybe we should get some dresses.
Maybe, yeah. Well, it has happened
It
before.
might be a little bit cooler actually to wear a dress. Actually, I could do with that right now, to be honest. I'm going to come over to Scarlett first of all.
I think, like, especially, it's really bad that it happens at school too. Like in my school, we can all wear trousers, but only the girls can wear skirts. And why should it be like that? Like, if a boy wants to wear a skirt, that's fine. And why should we be conditioned like that from a young age to be told that's like only what we can wear?
So maybe we need to mandate Gove then to change the rules here. Maybe we need to let boys wear skirts to school as well. Where are we going to come to next? We're going over here, Liam. Yeah, I'm going to spin round.
That wouldn't be affect. School doesn't really affect that because it's still shown in shops everywhere. Boys' clothes, girls' dresses, boys' no dresses.
So do we need to do away with boys and girls sections in shops? Is that what we need to do?
Yes, just make it children instead.
Yeah, nice one. Now, Mikey, we'll all come to you, but first of all, Square, you've been waiting a while. I'm going to come to you next.
I personally would not like to wear a dress, but that's, I guess, my opinion, or was that put on me by society?
Maybe we've been conditioned, like you're saying.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, but no, I think that's a good point. Yeah, no, good point, mate. See, we don't actually know if we've been conditioned or not.
Can I just ask, and what's your name?
Eli.
I mean, is it all? I just want to. This goes out to Eli, but to anyone. Is it the fact that it is a girl's outfit that it makes it a nice thing to wear? So, I mean, if we said these are all just gender neutral clothes, would it make it less attractive to wear a dress for a boy, or less attractive for a girl to wear the boys' clothes if they didn't have any identification at all?
So is that what maybe? So the question is, being in girls' clothes, does that attract boys because it's a bit of out the norm?
No, it's just a different, expresses a different part of your. I think it's good that you should be able to do it. But what I'm saying is, if that is not then attached, wearing a dress is not attached to being a girl, is it then expressing the same thing?
Right. Okay. Well, does anyone have an answer to that? What do we think? All right, Ian, I'm going to come back to you because it was directed at you.
Well, for me, before I actually knew about the gender thing, about boys and girls having to wear different clothes, I just liked it anyway. So I don't think that all boys have to wear dresses, and I don't think all girls have to wear trousers. I think that people should wear what is naturally attracted to them, and if they are a boy and don't want to wear a dress, that's fine. I don't think that they might as well give it a go, but I don't think that it's anything to make it more attractive.
Right, okay, so maybe just give it a go Sunday. Maybe it's not about the attraction, maybe it's just you like what you see, let's go for it. Well, adults, we're staying quite quiet at the back, I can see you all there. Scarlett's shut off somewhere, I don't know where Scarlett's gone, she's skulked off without a final thought. Mikey, you got to be watching my back, you got to be keeping an eye there. What are you thinking, Nelly?
Like, you know when you are like having a baby and you do like those gender reveals, and you know when you like buy all, like say for instance if you were having a girl, you would buy loads of girl baby stuff, but then when they grow older they know that they have been brought up to be a girl even, and their parents have told them that they're a girl and they're not allowed to do anything else because they have been brought up of wearing girls' clothes.
So maybe then should parents raise their child and not tell them what gender they are, just raise them genderless? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, basically. They will know. Because if they look down, they'll just know.
Alright, so it comes back to that biological, like Tarkin was saying, it's down to your biology. So whatever biologically you're born as, that has to be the gender you are. Is your sex and your gender different? I don't know, I'm just a man with a mic, I'm interested. What are you thinking?
Well, gender's a social construct, but I think that the social constructs that exist around gender are based on biological sex. So there are some socially constructed elements, like girls liking the colour pink, but then there are more kind of biological gender stereotypes, if you will. Like men are more athletically faster, stronger than women, and that is a biological fact.
Right, okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's come over here, Liam. Liam, you're calling him out. All right, what are you thinking? I don't know if that was aimed at you or just a very well-timed comment.
It's not been proven that males are faster than, or stronger or more athletic than females.
Alright, so do we have any science about it? This is a bit like a live Google, isn't it? We're going to find it out as we go along, guys. Kaz, do you know? Is there any science to back this up? Are men faster and quicker than women?
I have no idea on that topic, but it has been scientifically proven that boys do like more video games than girls.
Right, so it's been scientifically proven that men like more... do not drop the F-bomb, and by that I mean the Fortnite. Okay, let's not go there, let's not... Mikey's got his head in his hands already. Oh, we're going. But let's answer this question first of all. Let's talk about it. Men and women. Is there any evidence to prove that men are faster and stronger? Now, I can see you guys at the back there. Feel free to come involved, get involved. I can see your Snapchat glasses, alright? Come tell us about it as well.
I mean, if you take all the average men and all the average women, yes, the men are slightly faster and slightly stronger, but most people are sort of in the middle. So, like, the very fastest man is faster than the very fastest woman, but most people are, like, kind of in the middle there. Like, you know, if you take the thing about the heights of people, if I said somebody is 1.80 meters tall, are they a man or a woman?
I don't know. You answer.
I don't know. I mean, no idea. Well, nobody does. You know, somebody can run the 100 meters in 14 seconds. That's a good time. Are they a man or woman? We don't know. So, although there might be slight differences, I think we're exaggerating the differences when we're actually much more similar.
Right, okay. Do people agree with this? Does gender even matter then, actually, when it comes to these different abilities? I mean, like we're saying, if you put it on a piece of paper, you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Our brains are hardwired differently, so women are more maternal than men, hence why women go into midwifery professions more than men, and they seem to be better with children. There are biological differences between men and women.
But does this come back to our conditioning that Bob was mentioning before? Are we...
Yeah. Maybe that's something that's socially pushed upon people, that women, you know, you can't achieve as much as men, therefore, you know, midwifery is a great career, but why not aim for MD of a company, or, you know, it's kind of... Yeah, right.
I'm saying that the psychology of women, they tend to be more maternal than men, and that is a biological fact.
Oh, let me get the mic to you, alright? This is good. First of all, you got to tell me your name before you carry on. What's your name?
My name's Elsa.
Lovely to meet you, Elsa. What's your thoughts?
Well, you're talking about biology, but you haven't mentioned kind of biochemistry. So I was thinking about hormones being really important, and they are important in the biological sense. But that doesn't mean that there aren't social implications as well. It's a really, really complicated question, I think.
Yeah, it is a complex, and that's what we're here today to talk about. We're going to break this down at Talkaoke. Square, enlighten me.
Am I a boy? Raise your hand if you think I'm a boy here.
Are we taking a vote? Hands up if you think Square's a boy.
Are we assuming?
I'm just saying this. Raise your hand if you think I'm a boy.
We're assuming gender.
Now, why do you think that? Why do you think that I'm a boy, and why do you think that I'm not a girl? I am a boy. I'm saying I.
Well, let's open it out. Let's have a question.
Eli, what are your thoughts? You have your hand up.
I was just answering the question, but you have a deep voice, but the main thing is going back to that point of how stereotypically things have been drummed into our heads, and that is something that I don't like, but it's something that everyone, including me, has got in their heads. And if you were to wear a dress, I would more likely think that you were a girl.
Right, okay. So,
which I don't like, to be honest.
But like, so society's maybe pushing sort of our ideas of what gender is on us. Like, now, I notice actually, some other young people talking, parents at the back, staying quite quiet. I want to get your thoughts. What do we think? Do we think that actually we're contributing to this and sort of condition our young people to have a specific gender and what that gender is? What are our thoughts? Any ideas? Call people with a mouthful and all of a sudden no one's to look me in the eye. Yeah, go on then, go for it. What's your name?
My name's Gemma.
Gemma, what are your thoughts, Gemma?
Well, I've got two boys, and when they were babies, we decided that we'd bring them up with non-gender specific toys, and we wouldn't push them into one area or another.
Yeah.
And that was all very easy while it was our decision. And then as soon as our oldest one started at nursery, all the gender stereotypes are there. And there was one particular day when you could dress wearing anything you wanted, and I'm sure my son won't mind me saying he wanted to wear a dress, which we thought was great. And at that point, that was a very difficult moment, because we had to say to him, you can wear a dress. It might be that some of the children think that's strange, and we were sort of in a difficult position where we wanted to let him know so that he could make his own decision based on that it might be difficult, but also we didn't want to say no. And in the end, he decided not to wear a dress, which was really sad.
Do we think actually then it's becoming more and more difficult?
He didn't wear a dress in the end. No, he didn't.
Do you think it's becoming more difficult for parents to help their children sort of lead a non-gender life? You can have a thought. What are your thoughts, pal?
Will you say something?
No, I'm quite sure. Do you know what? I appreciate the effort, Marlon. That's it.
Do you want to talk?
Any thoughts? No, but that's all right. But so, yeah, no, thank you for that. I think it's quite a difficult one. Margaret, what are your thoughts?
Back to the gender reveal. I've watched a few videos on YouTube with gender reveal, and they pop a confetti cannon, and either pink or blue confetti will come out, and if it's pink it's a girl, or if it's blue it's a boy, which I think that's wrong, because boys can like pink and girls can like blue, because
why do we think that it's those colours? Why do we think that girls are pink and boys are blue? Alright, we're gonna come to yourself then, just at the back. What's your name first of all?
It's anything, remember?
Anything, isn't it? You lost your cap. I was looking at the cap, that's what I remember is anything, but don't worry, anything. What's your thoughts?
So my friend Freddie, his dad's favourite colour is pink.
So even some men like pink, don't they? No, we're going to come to the back. You'll have to give me your name, so I've not got your name yet.
It's Vic.
Vic, lovely to meet you, Vic. What are your thoughts?
Okay, it was just about the pink and blue, that originally pink wasn't a colour for girls, it was a colour for boys, because it was considered light red, which was the strong blood colour for men, whereas blue was for girls because of the Virgin Mary being in blue and that image, but we've twisted it around, and I think it was after the war it changed, but I don't know when it did change.
Right, okay, well maybe we can find out. Does anyone know when it changed or why it changed? Now we've got lots of faces. Let's do a recap of everyone's names just so we're all on the same page. We've got Bob, we've got Tark, we've got, what's your name?
Stan.
Stan. We have Liam. We have. I didn't catch your names. What are your names?
Isaac.
Isaac.
Jonah.
Jonah.
Frankie.
Frankie. We have Will. I know you, Will. We've got Eli. We've got Square. We've got. What's your name at the back there, guys?
Dan.
Dan.
Rowan.
Rowan. We've got Anything. We've got Vic. We've got Gemma. We've got Kaz. What's your name, my friend? Samuel. And is this when Nelly and Margaret leave us? Is this it? We've done around names. What are your final thoughts? Give me your final thoughts before you go.
I'm a girl.
You're a girl. Fantastic. Nelly, final thoughts?
I don't know where my mum is.
You don't know where your mum is? I hope you find a round of applause, guys. Alright, let's get these final names and then we can get a final thought, bub. Name Carla, sorry. We got Michael. Yeah, Michael, bub. Final thought before you go.
Just stay true to yourself.
Stay true to yourself. Guys, everyone that's been a round of applause. You've been fantastic. Enjoy the rest of the Shed and hopefully we'll see you next year. Yeah, that's right, little plug there. But what are we thinking? We've got this, but Michael, what are your thoughts? We're talking about gender so far, boys and girls. We're going to come to Michael, then to Mikey.
Like you were talking about the gender reveals, like if it's pink it's a girl, if it's blue it's a boy. I think it's just like a clear indicator because like most girls, I'm not trying to stereotype girls or anything, but most girls I think like pink and most boys like blue, so that's probably why it's that indicator.
We'll come there, we're going to come to Mikey like I promised. Oh, it's getting heated on a Sunday.
Well, I just want this question about being yourself. What does that really mean? Because, like, are you the same person that you were last year, or, you know, in my case, 10 years, 20 years ago? Is being yourself, what is being yourself?
Gemma,
that's what Bob was asking.
Final thought before you leave. You can't squawk off when Mikey gets the mic. I see you. Give us a final thought.
Oh, final thought.
About anything.
Final thought about anything?
Anything you like. What are you doing next? What are you up to next?
Trying to stop my baby crying.
Right, okay.
This is brilliant, thank you.
Not a problem. Round of applause. You've been fantastic, Gemma. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, if we've got another final thought, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, Mikey, people change, don't they? So can you flip-flop between your gender? Can you be a boy one day, a girl the next day? Is that something? Yeah, brilliant. We'll come over to you, Liam. What are your thoughts?
There's actually many documented cases of people being a male one day and going by like a gender neutral name like Sam, because Samantha and Samuel.
Yeah, we got some, but that's okay. That's a good point. Carly, is it Carly? Carla, I'm sorry, Carla. There's lots of names today, and I was out late last night, so it's a bit of a struggle. But Carla, final thought before you go.
Get some sleep. Look after yourself. Look after each other, and yeah, it's your life. Live it.
Thank you. Yeah, round of applause. All right, good advice. I think we should get some sleep at some point, Mike. Take Carla's advice on that one.
Driving home.
No, we're driving home. That's why we need self-driving cars. You going anything? Final thought? Anything?
Going back to the money bit. This is a question. Did people just go on stage to get rich?
That is a question. It's slightly off topic. We can talk about that. Everyone's going. All right. What's the thought? Final thought then before you go.
I reckon that all the people around this table can help change it, because they'll be running companies that will decide whether girls wear girls' clothes, boys' clothes. If you're doing marketing, that's all down to that. You can make the decision. It's all up to you.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. It's a bit of a motivational speech there. Maybe you should be on stage. Maybe you should be here doing this, giving the voice. What are you thinking? Where are we going to next? We've got Liz back. We've got Tarquin again. Kaz, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Is the best thing the same as your favourite thing? Because the best is the same as favourite. And where I'm going with this.
Where are we going with this one, Kaz? You're on a bit of a wild one here.
If the best thing for girls...
I'm going to move in a minute, so I don't know if Eli's going to stay.
If the best thing for girls is pink, that might be some people's view, that's not my view, then let them think that, People don't need to think that themselves.
Let people enjoy the colours that they're like. What's your favourite colour at the back there? Is it blue in the blue top? Is that you? Come tell us about it. That's what we're talking about. Why is blue your favourite colour? Why is it? Give us 2 minutes of your time. 2 minutes. I'm not a problem. We'll come back a little bit later on. Now, I notice there's a new face that's stuck in at the back there. What is it? You're a Seat. Well, what's your name? Because I can call you Seat, but it feels a little bit sort of formal then. What's your name?
Lisa.
Lisa, have you got any thoughts on this? Do you want to shed light on it? No, that's okay, we need listeners. Because otherwise people wouldn't be listening to what we're talking about. But what are our thoughts? Sam and Phil are back. Any ideas, guys? Yes, Liam?
I think we should abolish the labels, male and female.
Get rid of labels, that we agree. Now, I noticed we've got the cheap seats at the back. Don't worry, we've got some seats closer in if you want to come forward as well. I want to hear your thoughts. Will, what are your thoughts, mate?
I think that's a pretty stupid thing to do, because physically, you've got male and female, and you can distinguish people as that, so just abolishing the label does seem pretty daft.
So maybe we need the label because...
Yeah, you do need the label. Every species has a male and female part to it, pretty much.
No. Remember, listening, receiving.
Asexual ones, like jellyfish and stuff, but that's like...
So we do have asexual species. Eli, you've been waiting patiently. What are your thoughts?
I disagree with whatever your name is, Will. I think that it's a good. I understand your point about every species having a label, but in this day and age, we have so many people who aren't one or the other. Was it 76? Did you say?
76. Somebody said we have 76 different genders in today's
and
society.
I don't understand all of those. I would love to do some research, but biologically it's always good to have labels, but physically and socially I don't see the point in them, because anyone should choose of the 76, or if we were getting rid of the two predominant social ones, 74 genders
You're dropping
to
some
choose
knowledge
from.
bombs today, Eli, I tell you. There's a really good one. So actually we've got two different ones. We've got biological identity and labels, and we've also got social. So what you're saying is, get rid of the social labels, keep the biological labels. Vic, you seem to agree there.
I don't know. I think they are two different things, social and biological, and I think when it comes to reproduction, you've got X and Y.
Yeah.
Basically. But then with the others, on a societal measure, does it really matter? And someone said about, I can't remember your name, sorry. Tarquin, sorry. Tarquin today, okay. About the gender in jobs. Well, I work in a school and I'm a teaching assistant, and we have a real mix, and often the word maternal could be more applied to the men than the women. Obviously they can't physically be maternal, but I wonder if there's a lot of that just because that's what society dictates, is who's better at which role. So working in the world, I think I just disagree about the roles of occupations.
I've got to say, I like how nice and civil this is staying. What about at the back? Have we got any thoughts? What are your ideas on this? We just enjoying listening. That's okay though. Talkaoke is for everyone. There's no age limit on Talkaoke. Come sit down, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, all day if you like. Although you might pack up and be sat in an empty field after a little while, because we will go at some point. But have you got any ideas to share on this one? Wait, pass the mic over, grab the mic. Pass the mic. There's a seat here for you and everything. We bought you a seat. Hello, what's your name?
Mike.
Mike, nice to meet you, Mike. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm just wondering why it's so bad for boys to be boys and girls to be girls, and to be bringing your kids up in the gender that they are.
So to use the social constructs that we've got?
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Okay, so
I think there's a reason for it.
Okay, what might that reason be?
Physical. Men are the majority more physical.
What more physically?
Strength-wise and
advanced.
Yeah.
In what sense though? Is that muscle or sort of brain and
physical and stuff?
Physical. We touched on this before.
I don't mean mentally or sort of like brain power wise, you know what I mean? But there are sort of like physical jobs around the world and stuff that people do, and they're generally done by men.
It's an interesting. Well, let's open it out then. Let's talk about it. Thank you, Mike. But maybe, do you think there's only some jobs that boys can do and only some jobs that women can do? Is that what you think? Contact us, guys. Round of applause as you join us at the table there, everybody. What's your name, my friend?
Alex.
Alex, what do you think, Alex? Shed some light on this. It's been quite a heated conversation. Although Ruby's on camera, she's thinking, how are we going to follow this one?
I've only just come into this debate. Are you talking about the gender divide?
Yeah, so let's have a bit of a recap. Bring everyone up to speed at the back as well. Feel free to participate. This is basically talking. It all started with Phil's question. He's come back to hear the answer. We're talking about gender. We're talking about, are there only two genders? We found out that in today's society there might even be as many as 76 genders apparently, and you know, boys and girls are conditioned in different ways to think different things at the moment. And Mike, is it? Yeah, Mike has said actually, what's wrong with boys being raised as boys and girls being raised as girls?
I think the bottom line is you just have to accept that if you have a person who identifies as a different gender than the one that they were biologically assigned for, it's not your right to disagree with them. It's their choice.
So
you know,
their human right
just as you don't, you know, I've had this where people have, you know, they've got a particular name, the prefix that they want to be called. It's not your right to change the name. Just in the same way as you meet someone and maybe they're called David and you go, all right, Dave, and they go, no, actually I'm David. You know, you would be being a really mean person if you continue to use the wrong name. So it's just not your right to choose for them. It's their right. So you just have to respect what they choose.
So do you think then young people get a choice, sort of building on from Mike's point, do you think young people get a choice then to actually say to their parents, I don't want to be raised as a boy, I don't want to be raised as a girl, I don't want to be called that? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Alright, well, you're going to come to Mikey.
I mean, this is slight of a side issue, but my issue is not really with. I totally agree with all the things that have been said just now, but I just think sometimes it's the expectations that go with the genders that is the problem. Like, you know, I think especially with boys, there's a certain. I can talk more about boys. There's a certain expectation that they're going. We heard, I think Tarquin said, boys are stronger and they're faster. But then there's an expectation that you're always going to be strong, and that you can't show vulnerability. You can't actually, you know, show a broader range of emotions.
Do we think then that actually this conditioning, we've spoken a lot about how maybe it affects women and they're told they're more maternal and they're not being made sort of CEOs or MDs of companies, but does that mean that boys are becoming less emotional, more shut off?
Well, just to like the phrase "man up," when people say "man up," what does that mean?
What do you think it means?
Well, about man up. I'm going to man up. It's like, it means that kind of like, you know, don't let the circumstances get to you. Be strong and be tough and be in a way cold. And I think that is actually quite emotionally difficult for boys and for men as well.
Sam, Phil, you guys sort of kicked this off, Phil, did I? You've been quite quiet. Just any lights? What do you think? Do we agree with Mikey that this phrase "man up" is a bad phrase? Yeah. What do you think?
Can I just say, it's not the phrase, it's just the social expectation that goes with that phrase, that's behind the phrase. It wouldn't make any sense if we didn't have that do you
think there is a pressure put on men to be strong and be manly and not to show emotion? Liz, yeah?
I think and that's why suicide's so high in men, because they don't show their emotions because they're scared people judge them.
Right, okay, so actually we think that sort of this process of men being raised to be strong and independent is being more detrimental to their health.
Going back to that question, I agree with you. I actually really hate that phrase now, because it's sort of like...
Which one, man up?
Yeah, because technically if you say man up to a girl, just saying, technically it would be sort of mean get a willy, because it's like man up, but that is literally what you're saying. Man up. It's not what it means, but that is what you're saying.
Right, okay.
Something you're not.
Yeah, here we are.
Well, just being something you're not.
So all these phrases condition us not to be ourselves, not to be independent. Any more thoughts on this? Where do you want to go with this, guys? I mean, Mikey, you posed a question that it's kind of stunted everybody. I think everyone's in a little bit of shock right now, to be honest. Yeah, let's go around. I'm getting tangled up here in this. I'm getting tangled up in this conversation. Yes, Talk.
Hello. I'd like to go back. Is it Alex? Yeah. I'd like to go back to Alex's point, which is, yes, children can have some autonomy over how they're raised, but I think we need to be very careful about how much autonomy they do have. For instance, if you look at the government statistics, 50 to 80% of what we would call transgender children don't go through with realignment surgery as they get older. Okay, and then if they begin to go under hormone therapy, especially when they go through puberty, there can be serious side effects. So I think we need to actually ensure that these are the sort of routes that people need to take, rather than, as we've discussed, society places emphasis on what is manly, what is feminine. We have to also ensure that society doesn't place emphasis on the opposite. Do you know what I mean?
The biological side of it.
Where?
Go too far the other way.
Yeah, exactly. So we should.
Stuff like puberty blockers and make sure people aren't on those.
Yeah, we should try not interfere with the natural biological process
we're getting there, talking
as best as we.
Right, so we're saying that it's important to let people feel the way they want to feel, but actually not interfere with the natural body.
I'm not. There will be obviously actual serious cases, but I think we need to calm down.
Final
thought, Michael.
What are we thinking? You can take a back seat. Are you staying over there for a bit? Alright, but I've got, just to warn you, I've got Mikey keeping my back, so just got to turn my back. You can't squawk off. Alright, I see you guys over there. Now, we're going to come over. Remind me of your name. Cameron.
Stan.
Stan, I'm sorry, Stan. It's been a while.
For some reason, most schools, like high schools, which need tests, are usually the grammar schools with girls and boys in. Is there a thing to do with like how smart you are, so you can only go with girls, or like same with girls, you can only go with boys? Like, is this kind of thing there? Because it's kind of splitting up girls from boys.
So girls and boys schools might not be right.
Yeah, but that's what people are saying, like having girls and boys in the same classroom might not be right, but sometimes it is, because if you have all boys in one classroom, they're all going to mix together and they're all going to make trouble and no one can learn. But if you have the girls and the boys in the same classroom, they won't really talk to us. Yeah, it's balanced.
So you get a more variety of opinions, a more balanced behavioural aspect. Vicky seems to agree.
I just do, working in the school.
That's alright, that's good, you're allowed to nod.
I went to all boys school. I think it was a terrible idea. It was awful, yeah. Awful. But it was just, it was just incredibly aggressive. You couldn't really be any different. Everyone was attacking each other all the time. It was awful. And, it's probably the worst period of my life being in an all boys school.
Do we think girls' schools are the same? Do you think all girls' schools is a terrible idea as well? Yeah, a lot of people agree. What are we thinking, Liam?
I'm just saying that it's stereotypical to say that boys are the only ones that will cause trouble, because I know that girls in my school have. There's one girl in particular who had in her first year had I think it was 50 isolations.
That's quite a lot. So actually then it's not just going one way or the other. Boys and girls are both subjected to this. They both put sort of pressures on them by society, and how do we stop this thing? Because nobody seems to be agreeing with this, but Talkaoke is about finding a solution sometimes, isn't it, Mikey? So I mean, how do we tackle this? What should we do?
Just have schools with a mix of boys and girls, because I started high school this year. Last year, because it was summer last year. Yeah, I'm right. And it was an all boys school, and I joined and I thought it'll be alright. And for the first 2 months or 3 months, I got bullied a lot because it was the same school, so it was just good because there's drawings all over the walls, people flying outside, and it doesn't look attractive anymore. But
I can spot, yeah. But yeah, so it was difficult, wasn't it? So maybe do away with it. Now, I notice it feels even coming back, but Mike, I see you're packing up. Come shed us a final thought before you leave. Shed some enlightenment on us. Come closer, get the mic. Pass Sam, grab the mic, pass it over to Mike. Give us a final thought.
Yeah, well, it's a good job people like me aren't in charge of schools and stuff like that. But it's fair play. I'm just it's encouraging to. This sort of thing is absolutely wonderful. It's great. People are talking, and but yeah, I have old-fashioned views, and and that's I'm probably a bit out of touch, but
But Mike, thanks for taking the time to share your thoughts. Round of applause for Mike, alright? Absolutely brilliant. It's nice to share thoughts, that's what it's about. But Alice, give us a final thought before you go.
I was going to say very quickly, I work in the electronic music field where there's a massive gender divide. It's a massive sausage festival, and it's a really, really uninviting field in the electronic music and music industry for women. It's a real problem, and having spoken to lots of folks about it, I think it comes from the fact that parents basically basically impose, subconsciously, but they impose certain things on boys and certain things on girls. Like, boys are invited to do certain types of activities when they're small, and girls are too. And also, things are marketed to boys and things are marketed to girls by companies. So, for example, if you rewind the video games, you rewind the clocks like 40, 50 years, computers were basically something that anyone could use. But in the 80s, when you were getting personal computers, video games, they were marketed to boys. And that's meant that suddenly all the women getting into computer science have just fallen away, because that is what society is pushing on. So my final thought is to say that as parents and as people who market things and as you present things and offer things to young people, is be careful not to make the decision of what they're going to be interested for them. Allow the child to express their own interests and encourage whatever they're interested in. Don't be very careful not to compartmentalise what.
Alex, round of applause. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the festival. So, do you think we need to make things more accessible in certain industries to boys and girls? I'm going to come to Eli first, then we'll go Will, then Mikey.
Well, I'll talk about two things. The first thing I wanted to say about Mike's past thing, I really appreciate Mike. I appreciated his honesty about the old-fashionedness, but I think that is a good thing to stop, because, as I said, it's really honest, but
it's difficult.
It is.
Sometimes honesty you can make you hurt, but actually that's how we start the conversation and start changing those behaviours and opinions sometimes.
Yeah, and with your question,
I can't even remember my own question now. I don't know. About making it more accessible. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, making more industries accessible to both sexes. That's what we're talking about. Because Alex said that the music industry, in specific, wasn't very accessible to women.
Well, I think that the music, for instance, the music industry is getting more and more accessible to both genders, but there is still a divide. There are more men in certain genres of music and more women in certain genres of music, and there should be just about an even balance. But that poses the question of discriminating people's gender because of trying to make tick-boxing genders. So I have to have 20 genders, 20 men doing one thing and 20 women doing this thing. It would become
So actually, sometimes that's a really good point. Sometimes if you're forcing them, there we go. Thank you, Mikey. See, man on a mission. But it's that thing, isn't it? Of actually sometimes trying to make way for one gender might actually then end up discriminating against the other gender. Well, you had a point to raise, my friend.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Do you remember it? Is it left you?
No, but I'll say something. Alex, Alex before he left, was talking about the gender divide in different fields of work. So computers and in music, and you see it all over, in sports, and I think it has become a fairly skipped over part of society that women and men are extremely divided in those aspects. But it's become a very subconscious thing. Even though we're trying to push to get change, in sport especially, it's just But the thing is, you never see women's football on TV. But then again, that you get back to the whole biological aspect of it, because men are seen as physiological.
Now we're going to explore this in a second. I just want to get a final thought from Mike before he goes.
I may be back at some point in the day. If so, I'll see you then.
Okay, final thought as well.
That's not really a final thought, though.
I think that gender is a spectrum, and I don't think that it should be one side and the other side. That's what I think.
Do you know what? Just drop the mic in my hand, because that was a real drop the mic moment. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks, guys. Round of applause. Michael, we might see you later on, my friend. Now, I've just realised this conversation's got so heated, I've turned so much, we've actually worn into the grass. No, I'm on a wonky stage right now because we've chilled it away. Lisa, are we going? Are you leaving us, Lisa? You've been enticed by the music? No problem. Give us a final thought before you go, Lisa. I can stretch your mic out so you can keep.
Well, they might be. I haven't got anything to say.
That's alright. What are you looking forward to next?
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra. That's a good rummy phrase there. Fantastic. Thank you very much for listening. Brilliant. Thank you. we've got a point there. Stan, what are our thoughts?
Can we change the subject, please?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about, Stan? Do we want to change the subject, guys?
Yes, I want to change it.
Oh, okay, let's get a final point from Mikey, then we'll change the subject.
Okay, I don't know what your interpretation of this is, but Women's World Cup, England also got to the semi-finals. The city that I'm from, London, is a city of 8 million people. Only 2 bars in the entire city was showing the semi-final. It was only on 2 bars.
The male semi-final.
The Women's World Cup. England footballers got to the World Cup final. There was no excitement. There was no beer promotions. There was no general feeling of elation. Only 2 bars in the whole 8 million population of London showing it. And I find that interesting. But also on top of that, when I got into the bar, 90% of the people supporting the England team there were actually men as well.
Right, okay, now...
So I make of that what you will, I don't know.
I think we will change subject soon, but it seems that actually a couple of people still want to talk about this. Is that right, yeah?
I wanted to move on, Nick. I don't know if Eli's
Alright.
let me, but I will actually
Yeah, no, look, that's not a problem. It's up to you. There's no time limit on Talkaoke. Someone, if you're either happy, Eli can stay. If not, Eli can go with your mum. It's up to you.
I do.
That's fine. It's up to you guys. I'm going to pass you to Will. Will, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Sport, like anything, it's a business. That's all it is, and sponsorship deals, and people won't want to watch the women's game as much as the men's because they don't feel it's as good, maybe because men may be seen as physically stronger and have a better game. So therefore, the sponsorship won't come, and people will be less willing to have them in better stadiums.
So maybe the gameplay's not
Yeah,
good.
so the game, well, not necessarily, might not be as good, but people, I don't know. It's an odd thing to talk about. Yeah.
But don't worry, I'm going to get a final thought from Vic before you go. I know you're going to come back for Eli a little bit later.
Probably just respect yourself and respect other people. Really.
Thank you very much, Vic, and we respect you for that comment. That's wonderful. Now, I think do we want to change subject? Stan's gone. He wanted to change. He's lost interest in the football, but that's okay. We're going to pass it. Stan. Final thought. Give us a final thought. I'm going to pass the mic to. I'm going to get tangled up again.
Yeah.
Change the subject.
What to? Give us a new subject. I want to hear Stan's final thought. Throw it on.
I think we should take down the capital bourgeoisie.
Yeah, the capital bourgeoisie. We're back to the bourgeoisie. As much as we've run from them, they always come after us in life and in Talkaoke. We're going to come back to Kaz.
Well, what is the difference between best and favourite?
What's the Well, I'm going to ask you. What's the difference between best and favourite, Kaz?
But I don't know. They're practically the same.
Maybe. Should we get Will?
Yeah, well, if Will wants to have a go, do you want to have a go? Go for go in the middle? Okay, well maybe we should get final thoughts though for this session. I feel it's come to a natural end, and maybe we can get some chips and whatever.
Let's get a round of thoughts, and then we'll get Will back on. But guys, let's get final thoughts from everybody. So I'm going to start with you, Liam. What's your final thought? I need a final thought from you, Liz.
My final thought is probably that we should abolish assigning genders to people.
Right, okay, so get rid of that. Eli, final thought.
He stole my line.
You agree, but that's okay. Great minds think alike. Margaret, what are our thoughts?
I don't know what we've been talking about.
Lots of things. Just give us final thought on anything you've spoken about today.
These chips are good.
These chips are good stuff. Well, that's why we need to break so we can get some of those chips, I think. What about us then, Nelly? What are we thinking?
I've got glitter all over my hand and I don't know if it's gone into my mouth, but I don't really care.
Don't care if glitter's gone in the mouth. Lisa, final thoughts?
I haven't got anything. Dish shed's great.
Dish shed's great. Fantastic. Have you got a final thought for us, lovely?
Tell him your name.
That's okay, you can stay quiet later. It's Mark, isn't it, at the back there? Mark, have you got a final thought to think about?
It's been a long, hard weekend. I'm sure we've all loved it.
Fantastic, I agree with that. Kaz, final thought, my friend.
This is nice.
This is nice. What?
Go to that pink shop. It's amazing.
Go to the pink shop. It's amazing. All right, Mikey, bring it home for us, like England didn't. What's your final thought?
Well, I think this discussion. I think we've had a really good discussion. It's been really interesting how all these things link together. And I do think, you know, we need to, not only do we need to have this discussion, but we also need, you know, to have all views. So, like people like Mike that think, oh, boys are boys, and girls are girls, they need to come down on the table and talk about it. And, you know, we can sort of unpick this and get everyone around and talking about it. Because I do think it's important. It has got effects on people's mental health, which I think we need to improve in this country.
Now, guys, we are wrapping up now. Don't worry though, we are starting back up. You don't have to leave the table, and it might even be time for Will's Talkaoke debut. He might even jump in and have a go. But before we do, can we get a round of applause for Mikey? He's been fantastic. A round of applause for Ruby, the unspoken hero of the weekend. I've been Will. This is Talkaoke. We're going to come back in a little bit, guys.